Welcome to this episode of Your Future, Your Finances. I'm your host, Brian Kuhn. Here we interview a variety of experts on the topics of personal finance, personal health, and current events here in Maryland, D.C., and nationally. In this first segment, we are speaking on your health. I have the opportunity to interview Dr. Ken Redcross, author of Bond, the Four Cornerstones of a Lasting and Caring Relationship with Your Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Brian. I'm excited. Very excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. So in this segment, we're discussing flu season. What are the odds someone comes down with the flu despite any prevention strategies?
You know, this is tough, Brian, because the odds are still 5 to 20% that no matter what you do, we're going to come down with the flu symptoms that we all are trying to avoid. You know, what else is interesting as well, the flu typically starts all the way in around October and goes all the way out into May. So make sure we recognize that as well.
What are the early warning signs that someone may have it?
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that we're all familiar with, fevers, chills, and body aches. There's the body aches, Brian, when we know we're dealing more with the flu than actually that of a cold. The other thing we get with the flu, too, the symptoms actually come on abruptly. You know, something like a cold kind of meanders a little bit and kind of comes on, but the flu, you really know when you have it.
Are there differences between adults and children with the flu?
You know, there is. Actually, you know, it's interesting because when you're looking at children, children aren't able to say, you know, Dad, I'm having body aches today. I'm not feeling myself. They don't do that, okay? But what they typically do, they become a little more listless. They don't necessarily eat the same. Their appetite changes. And kids also can manifest more of a rash with their symptoms as well. So there are some things that make them pretty unique.
So you have some items here. What are some things that we can do to cut down on the duration or severity of the flu?
Yeah, you know, what I thought about was to have fun with this segment, as much fun as you can have with the flu, right? And talk about some of the do's and some of the don'ts. So, you know, that first 48-hour window is incredibly important. So I have my my favorite alarm clock here, just to let you know that this is the time for you to hit the snooze button. In other words, I want to make sure that you don't go to work. Should you come down with symptoms, also keep the kids home as well, because you don't want to necessarily spread those type of symptoms where you're going. The other thing, too, I want to be cautious about is aspirin. Aspirin, when kids are 18 years of age or younger, it increases their risk for Rye syndrome, which can be deadly. So if you're having body aches and chills and that sort of thing, reach for something like Tylenol, but not aspirin, okay? Now, one of the do's, especially within that first 48-hour windows, is actually to consider Oscillococcinum. Now, I know, right? You have to say that over and over, Oscillococcinum. It's a homeopathic remedy, and the key here is that it's been shown to decrease the severity and the duration of flu-like symptoms, especially when taken within the first 24 to 48 hours. The other key about Oscillococcinum is that it's safe for kids who are 2 years of age and older, and it's also good for those who are on several different medications because Oscillococcinum has no drug-to-drug interactions. And that's a big thing, especially in my practice.
So for some day-to-day strategies, so we have the flu as we progress through the illness. What are some strategies there?
So look, so this is the first 48 hours. So now, Brian, we're moving to like day 3 and day 4. So one thing you'll see here is I want to make sure that you do not go to your doctor looking for antibiotics, because antibiotics are not going to help here. Antibiotics are only for bacteria, not for viruses, which is actually what the flu is. So don't worry if your doctor doesn't send you home with something. They're just practicing good medicine. Now, as I mentioned, the homeopathic remedy Oscillococcinum, we're going to stay closer to the earth over here as well. Because one thing you'll see here is elderberry. Now, elderberry is something that I think a lot of us are starting to understand, that it's important to help boost our immune system. But more importantly, it appears that elderberry has some activity against the flu virus itself. So that's where that lies. The other thing here you'll see is Butterbur. I know it's a funny name, but Butterbur is actually beneficial to help with headaches. And I brought that in because sometimes when you have flu-like symptoms, people get headaches as well, and so that's another kind of more natural way to deal with them. The other thing I brought with me today is holy basil. Now, holy basil, I know it's interesting, right? Well, holy basil, it helps as far as with secretions, which you typically get, whether it be with the cold or with the flu. So this is another kind of natural way to kind of battle that as well. The other thing I do want you to do is come in and see the doctor to make sure that we check you for the flu or not, right? So we need to come in, do the nasal swab, and see if in fact you do have the flu or not.
So these are items that you do day by day throughout it. You have a segment here, you talk about days 1 and 2, 3 and 4.
Right, right. And then we've come over here, Brian. Now we're towards the tail end of our flu, right? So this is day 5, 6, or 7. Now, one thing you'll see here, there's a common theme, and everything here is about hydration. I have a little bit of bone broth. I have coconut water way over there. And the kids are going to love me because I'm saying that popsicles are okay here.
All right,
this
fantastic.
is the only time. But you see here, sorry kids, there's no sugar added to these, all right? But the point is that I want us to make sure you stay hydrated. Lots of times when you're dealing with the flu, you're losing fluid, whether it be through vomiting, through diarrhea, or what we call insatiable losses. In other words, through sweating, things of that nature. So make sure you're staying hydrated. I have my mug over there to remind us. It's interesting. In the South, you always hear something, what's called a hot toddy. Hot toddy is, yeah, you know, right? So there's the tea with maybe a little bourbon or what have you. Now, it can help with sleep initiation, but the problem is it dehydrates you. So you don't want to have too many hot toddies around. And then the other thing, I brought the pillow to remind us about the importance of sleep to get better. CDC says we're supposed to be getting about 7 hours of sleep a day. I'd say it's a little bit higher than that, especially when we're dealing with some of these flu-like symptoms during this time of year especially.
Fantastic. You have a new book. The book is called Bond, the relationship with your doctor, how to form a long and lasting relationship. Can you talk a little bit about the book and as it relates to flu season?
Yeah, you know, this is interesting. It's been a labor of love. I've been writing this since 2007, and I kind of wanted to get my soul out about the importance of the patient-doctor relationship. And so in the book, I highlight the 4 important things, the 4 important cornerstones: trust, respect, empathy, and communication. And I believe that if we have all of those and they're kind of lock in step, then patients are happy and doctors are happy as well, because that's the whole thing. I love to create what I call kind of a patient nirvana, when the patient's kind of floating out of your room because they're so happy with the care that they received. And so that's what Bonds allows me to kind of talk about.
So when should you see your doctor based on having the flu, and when is it a waste of time or money?
You know, one of the most important things, I tell everyone within that first 48-hour window, so we always get some of these things that come and go, but if 48 hours you're not kind of turning a corner or feeling like, you know, this isn't me, or you have a fever, then you have to make sure you pick up the phone and give a call over to your provider.
All right, well, fantastic. Where can we get more information about you and your work?
Sure, absolutely. So my website is drkenredcross.com. All my social media handles are at Dr. Ken Redcross. So that's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
All right, a lot of good information there. Appreciate it. We'll be back. We're taking a break with another great segment.
2 identical cars leave their identical homes at exactly the same time. One driver pays close attention to their surroundings and obeys the posted speed limit. The other hurries through their neighborhood, going a little bit too fast, not paying attention. A group of children are playing in their front yard and a ball rolls out into the street. One car stops and nothing else happens. The other, well, let's just say it can change lives forever. Keep kids alive. Drive 25.
Hi, and welcome back. Next up on this episode, we are speaking with Angie Duncanson of the Maryland Women's Business Center, an organization based here in Maryland whose mission is to start, sustain, and grow women's enterprises. Angie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Brian.
So let's start with the history of the organization. How did it get started? What is its goal?
The Maryland Women's Business Center is a program initiative of the Rockville Economic Development Corporation. It started out as Rockville Women's Business Center to help women in the city of Rockville, but over the 9 years we've been in existence, we've launched an office in Prince George's County and in Frederick, so the name was changed to Maryland Women's Business Center.
Wonderful.
And as you said before, our mission is to help women in the state of Maryland launch, grow, expand, and sustain businesses through the programming we provide.
Wonderful.
Which is business training, one-on-one business counseling, and professional technical service assistance.
How is it funded?
So we are funded in a variety of ways. Our host, which is Rockville Economic Development Corporation, funds us. We are an official program resource of the Small Business Administration, so therefore we're funded through SBA, certain foundation funding, our local, county, and city governments. We also are funded through various economic development corporations. sponsorships, and we totally encourage online giving.
How many women-owned businesses are you working with, and how are they doing?
So I want to read those statistics for you because according to the latest information I received from Maryland's Department of Commerce, there are over 209,000 women-owned businesses in the state of Maryland.
Wow.
And out of that, 21,000 of those firms have payroll, and they are employing over 185,000 workers. So they have also brought in $2.5 billion in sales and $7.0 billion in payroll.
That's a lot of money.
So they're doing great.
Yeah, sounds like
and we
it.
want them to do even better.
So there are some programs or incentives the state is offering to help them, is that right?
Absolutely. Financially speaking, the state of Maryland has the Maryland Small Business Development Fund and the Video Lottery Fund. Those funds are used to help them acquire business financing and funding to help grow their business. As far as tax credits and incentives are concerned, the state offers a lot of those types of incentives, and I'd just like to share a few with you. They are business tax, businesses that create new jobs tax credits, clean energy incentives tax credits, community investment tax credits, enterprise zone tax credits, green building, and job creation. And there are many more. But those are some of the incentives that the state provide for women-owned businesses and businesses in general. Start a business in Maryland.
Yeah. Are there certain industries that you concentrate in?
No, we work with all industries.
Okay. What economic impact has MWBC had on the state as of last year?
So as of 2018, as a result of our programming and assistance and helping our women-owned businesses, we were able to help infuse $2.7 million into the Maryland state economy.
Fantastic. All right. And you have training events, you have programs that people can arrive to and learn some things?
Absolutely. One of our main platforms of assistance is to provide business training. So we provide a variety of different types of business training. The ABCs of starting a business, writing a successful business plan. We have a child care program that we provide. And then just the normal types of business development a company would need, accounting and QuickBooks, marketing, web design. And you name it, we pretty much do it. And then there are two special programs that we have during the course of the year. And one is we have an awards luncheon annually. And we also have a procurement series with a half-day conference at the Civic Center in Silver Spring. So we're quite busy.
Good. Yeah, sounds like a lot.
Yes.
Well, this has been great. Where can folks find you online if they want more information?
They can go to www.marylandwbc.org, and they can also call 301-315-8091. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and all of the social media outlets.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
You're quite welcome. Thank you for having me.
Sure. That does it for this segment and episode. We thank you for watching Your Future, Your Finances, and hope you have some takeaways. I'm your host, Brian Kuhn, and if you have any questions for the show or one of the guests, you may contact me at bkuhn@psgclarity.com. Lastly, as always, a thank you to Laurel TV for their production and airing of this segment. You can watch the show every Sunday at 10 a.m. on Laurel TV, Comcast Channel 71 and 996 for HD, and Verizon Channel 12, or on the live stream at laureltv.org. If you are watching this on YouTube, please also feel free to like and comment and follow the Laurel TV channel. Thank you very much.